Welcome back to another edition of the Night Report podcast. I'm your co-host, Mike Broadbent. Joining me once again, the whole gang, Richie Schneiderite, Craig Epstein, Chris Nalwasky. We're here to talk primarily about Rutgers' thrilling 65-62 win last night against Northwestern on the road. We're also going to talk a little bit of football recruiting updates. But this game, man, first of all, it's a 9 o'clock start, so a little hard to stay up for the whole thing, even though I'm a night owl myself. But let's kick it right to Craig. What did you think of this game overall?
Honestly, at the end of the day, man, it's just Cam Spencer. I mean, once again, he hit the big-time Purdue shot, gave him the big win there, and now Rutgers, he gave him kind of this win here. I mean, things were kind of going sour for Rutgers in those last 8 so minutes. Basically, it feels like they found themselves in the double bonus like the entire second half. So it was kind of like an uphill battle. Like Rutgers, when you find yourself like that, it's kind of hard to play defense, but Rutgers kind of stayed afloat till that fine. Even when I think Northwestern, they took about that 4-point lead with like a little over a minute to go, and it was just like, man, this kind of, even though Rutgers is a team that kind of thrives off of being doubted, it was like this one kind of felt like it was slipping away from them, but then they just answered back, and Cam hit that big shot and gave him the win. And not to be forgotten, even though he's obviously such the great free throw shooter, he nailed those 2 big free throws at the end, just clutch, ice in his veins. It's just, man. Everybody was kind of coming, like even me, coming into the season, was like, who's going to be the guy to take that last shot down the stretch, those big shots? And man, Cam Spencer has proven that he can take them and make them in spades, because he's been an assassin, honestly, for the last couple of games. So credit to Cam, credit to Rutgers, big time win. Onions, that's right.
Gammy onions. All right, what about Chris? What do you think of this game?
Yeah, I mean, going back to that, I mean, the last play they did was really good. I mean, a lot of people always talk about how Rutgers, never runs an offense, and I was one of those guys. I never really thought they ran an offense, but if you actually took a deep dive into the last play, Paul Mulcahy had the ball on the top of the key. Cliff O'Murray was setting the screen. He rolled to the rim. They had 2 defenders kind of go toward Cliff, and then Paul passed it around the perimeter to Cam, and he knocked it down. Cam had 6 threes last night. He scored a season high, I think it was, 23 points. So he's shooting like almost 70% the last 5 games from 3-point land. So he's obviously, Craig mentioned the free throws. I think he's only missed 1 free throw all year. I think he's like 35, for 36 or something like that. So he's been a knockdown shooter. He obviously has played good defense as well. But it is, even other than Cam there at the end, I mean, Rutgers started getting rebounds late. They got a lot of second chance points. Andre Hyde had a key rebound, kicked out to Cam for a 3. Cliff O'Murray had a nice block in the paint on Nicholson, I think it was. He got some tough rebounds near the end. So Rutgers really battled in this one, till the end. I think they led for like 34 minutes of the game, though. So they were kind of in control until Northwestern made their little run, but Rutgers punched back. I'm sure everyone thought when Northwestern made that bang 3 to go up 62-58, they thought the game was over. But, obviously Rutgers was able to come back and, steal a win here. Quad 1 win on the road. Obviously Northwestern coming in was playing fantastic, and, Rutgers was able to get the win there.
And what's also crazy is that now it's kind of like this quad win kind of replaces the Indiana. I think that was a quad win at the time, right? But now Indiana's kind of hit a free fall now, so that win doesn't really look as impressive as it was when they did it. But now this win kind of, I guess, was one kind of ship sinks, another one rises, and Rutgers now has a quad 1 win on another quad 1 win on their resume.
Yeah, so before last night's drubbing at Penn State, Indiana still was barely a quad 1 win. Now they are just barely outside of being a quad 1 win. So it's still a good win. It's a quad 2 win, but obviously you want to have as many quad 1 wins as possible. Rutgers has 8 quad 1 games remaining on the schedule, so there's plenty more opportunity to get more additional quad 1 wins starting this Sunday at Jersey Mike's at 2:30 against the hated Ohio State Buckeyes. Rutgers seeking revenge in that one. But let's talk a little bit more about this game. I was just blown away by the team efficiency from beyond the arc in general. Rutgers went 11 for 18 from beyond the arc. Obviously, that's buoyed by Cam Spencer going 6 for 7. Mm-hmm. The rest of the team, they were 5 for 11. That's almost 50% from 3. I thought there was just a lot of clutch playmaking down the stretch. Like, there were so many times where Rutgers could have wilted. We've talked about specifically the banked 3-point shot with a little bit over a minute left, put Northwestern up 4. Cam answered back with his own bank shot of his own. But there was just – we've talked about this bit, but Conspiracy Mike's coming out.
Well, that's good.
This game was just a tale of two halves, officiating-wise. The first half, Rutgers didn't have a foul called against them for the entire first 14 minutes. The second half, they had 8 fouls in the first 11 minutes. They were calling stuff entirely differently in the second half versus first half. I don't know if they get tapped at halftime saying, let's get this one close. I don't know what referees, use what sports book, maybe look into that. But that game, it was like if you started that game at the second half and said, this is from last year, it'd be fine. Like, if you want to officiate a game a certain way, set the tone early so teams know what buttons they can press, where they can go, where they can't go, what they can get away with, what they can't. When you start calling the game differently in the second half, it totally throws off everybody. So Rutgers really got fucked there in the second half, and sorry for the language, but they were in the double bonus with like 8 minutes left.
Yeah. So
I'm gonna take this off.
7:22
Mike used again later.
Did you really just apologize for language after everything I say on this podcast?
I've been trying to clean it up a little bit. I don't know. There's a few old fans who are like, I love it, but why do you use such foul, cursed language?
Why are you cussing? And it's like,
anyway.
all right, relax. Like,
Yeah, I mean, I'll add on to that, Mike. I know Pikel was asked about it after the game, and he basically said he can't tell his guys, how to play or what to do and everything like that. So, but he always says can't defend the free throw line. But yeah, I mean, the game obviously was called in two different ways, two different halves. Yeah, I mean, Rutgers or Northwestern was in the double bonus with 7:22 left. They were in the bonus at the 12-minute mark, so in the second half. So yeah, I mean, it was hard. I mean, Northwestern gets to the free throw line a lot, and even Pikel said during one of the later timeouts that you can't foul, you can't get Northwestern to the free throw line because Northwestern, other than probably Nicholson, has been a pretty good free throw shooting team this season.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking for. I saw Brian posted a thing about Brian Fonseca posted about the fouls. It was like Rutgers wasn't called for like a foul in the first 14 minutes, and then I think they're called for like 11 or something in like the next 15 or something. I don't know, some crazy stat, and it's just like, yeah, that was not one of the best officiated games I've seen. I mean, I liked it early on when it seemed like they were letting them kind of play, be physical, because that's Rutgers style of basketball. That's really Big Ten style of basketball, is physical, down low, kind of rough and tough kind of play, which I kind of like watching. And so, but then in the second half, it just completely flipped. I mean, it felt the second half almost became unwatchable. It felt like every 2 seconds just felt like it was a Rutgers foul, and it's just like just from a viewer standpoint, this is just brutal to watch. And then it's just like, and from a Rutgers standpoint, is like it's so difficult to defend when, like I said, when you're in the double bonus with like 8 minutes to go, and feels like every 2 seconds a foul's being called. But you saw Paul Mulcahy kind of took exception with it a lot. You kind of saw him getting pretty angry there. Which, I mean, yeah, I understand his anger, but at the same time, it's like, this isn't his first year in the Big Ten. We've seen over the years how kind of the officiating can go in Big Ten, and they don't typically reward players who complain like that a lot. So it is what it is. Yeah, it is what it is. And honestly, like the flopping calls were just so annoying. Honestly, like the first one, okay, I can kind of get that, but the one where Paul shot the three and made it and kind of went down, and they called the flopping call. I was just like, come on, just let them like. Yeah, okay, maybe he flopped, but it's like it didn't affect the play. It's not affecting the game. Just just let it go. Let them continue to play, because as we saw, this game came down to a couple points, and it's like those could have easily played a role in if Rutgers lost this game. So it's like I don't know. It's just one of those things where it's like I wish sometimes they would just let the guys play on, because that's the style that the Big Ten is.
All right, I have a theory. Mike, put on the super comfortable hat again. Hear me out. When you look at the box score, right? Number one thing that you look at, it's 29-24 at half. That equals 54, right? Correct, I believe.
Nope, 53.
No, 53.
53.
Whatever. 53. I'm bad at math.
They're close.
I failed math in college at one point. I'm not going to bring that back up ever again. If you do times that by 2, what does that equal? Quick maths.
106.
53 is 106.
106. What was the opening over-under for this game?
105.
126 and a half. What did it finish at? 127. You got to make the fucking over-under hit. So you fucking call this, you call that, you call that one. Look at that flop. He didn't even move, but sure, that's a flop. And then there you go.
Quick,
there's your conspiracy
plug
theory.
what is our advertisement, our betting.
And that's via Bet Online.
Yeah, it was also like one of the lowest over-unders of the night as well. Like if you're looking at the whole college basketball landscape, I actually put my buddy on Rutgers and the over as a parlay, and things weren't looking too hot at halftime. I think it was total of, like you said, 53, and it finished at 127. I do want to talk more about the free throw shooting in general of this team. Aaron Brightman put out an article recently on the Scarlet faithful about how this is on pace to be Rutgers' best free throw shooting year as a team in like 50 years. So Rutgers is shooting as a team 74% from the line this year. It's buoyed a lot by obviously Cam Spencer. Last year we shot 70% from the line. The year before that we shot 63%. The year before that we shot 64%. There's clearly been an emphasis. I know we bitched and moaned about this for how long under Pike, about how bad the free throw shooting was as a team. It's clearly made leaps and strides. The really exciting thing is we have a knockdown free throw shooter now in Cam Spencer. So anytime there's a tech, anytime there's like, a flagrant 1 or a flagrant 2, we know who's going to the line. It's like a really nice baked in little advantage that Rutgers has. Because not many, I want to say he's leading the nation in free throw percentage. Not 100% sure on that. But, I mean, I think it's hard to compete with a guy who's only missed once all year in high volume. I do want to talk about the defense last night. I thought Rutgers at times played incredible lockdown defense. We definitely benefited from Northwestern just being ice cold. I think they were 1 for 10 in the first half from the three-point line, and then they started to heat up, obviously, down the stretch. Chris, tell me a little bit about what you thought about Rutgers' defensive performance last night.
Yeah, I thought they played a good job. I mean, coming into the game, talking about the over/under, both teams were 1 and 2 in the conference in terms of scoring defense. So you knew it was kind of be like a rock fight, and it kind of was at times. But I think Rutgers play well on defense. They kind of, sorry, I've lost my train of thought. They did a good job. Boo and Chase Radiz coming into the game were playing phenomenally, and I think Chase Radiz was shooting like an incredible clip coming in. I forget the exact number, but I remember writing about it. And they did a good job. I mean, they missed shots. Obviously, like we said, they got cold. Iowa last time was making all their threes, but Rutgers did a good job. They did a good job rebounding. So I think they did a good job overall. They were very aggressive in terms of what they did in terms of their ball handles, handoff. Sorry, but other than that, they did a good job.
Yeah, I would just think defensively, this is kind of the game we expected. This is the number 1 team in the Big Ten defensively versus the number 2 team in the Big Ten defensively. So if you told me going into this thing, the final score would be 60-something to 60-something, I'd have been like, yeah, of course, it's kind of what we expected. And to be honest, I can't think of any, either side offensively, I think did a terrible job. I think it's just more credit to just their defenses that they're just suffocating. I mean, you saw Rutgers throughout kind of the second half was trying to cut off those handoffs. And early on, it felt like it kind of bit them in the butt a little bit from time to time. But then as the game wore on, I kind of felt like they started doing a better job. They started getting more and more physical with that. And they were able to to kind of do so. I mean, like you said, Boo Booey, Chase Audige are just 2 very good shooters, very good offensive players. And they kind of did their thing. But credit to Rutgers that it wasn't enough. And Northwestern didn't at the end of the day, Northwestern didn't do enough to come away with the win. I mean, and at the end of the day, it just came down to who can make that last shot, and it was Cam Spencer. So credit to him, credit to Rutgers.
Yeah, I think they did a great job scouting Northwestern. They clearly identified Boo Buie and Chase Audige as two guys that you have to kind of contain because they don't really have a deep bench. They held them to a combined 8 of 25 shooting, 3 of 13 from 3, 25 points combined. They did a great job locking them up at different points. You know, we did a bad job of boxing out, I felt, on the rebounding end. I don't know what it is. I don't know if you guys noticed this too. A few times, like, we didn't really play great help defense last night. We were getting a lot of guys kind of slipping in behind screens for wide open layups and dunks. I think that's something we really need to clean up. I don't know if it's an effort thing or if a lot of guys are banged up right now, but I don't think a bunch of our guys are playing at 100%. And that's where, you know, it shows up on defense, giving that last little bit of effort, going up for, you know, a block attempt. Like, we play great defense, but I think it's clear that there's certain guys struggling right now with health, if I had to guess.
Yeah, I know they played a lot of zone last night too, so maybe that also affects in terms of how they had the rebound. But I know Cliff a lot of times he kind of bothered me a little bit in terms of, you know, like how much he hedged the ball carrier, the ball handler, and then Nicholson was able to easily get to the rim for points. I feel like Cliff was kind of too overly aggressive in that regard. But
yeah, I thought he got lost on switches a lot too. He ended up like on like guards at the like beyond the arc like way more times than he should have. And sometimes he was able to recover, getting back into the paint, but other times there was just like wide open guys getting behind Cliff. So lots to clean up from this game, but a win on the road in the Big Ten is a win, especially when it's a quad 1 win.
I think they're 6-5 in their last 11 home games too, right?
Yeah, I put that out there because I saw somebody said that, but I think they were counting the Ohio State game. So at worst, we're 5-6 in the last 11, which is still good. I hate people that do that. Like,
I got two things to nitpick right there. What you just said, everyone on the board just saying it too. It's like, yeah, and count the Ohio State win. No, it's a loss. You have to get over it. End
it
of
sucks.
The day, it blows. But what are you going to do? There's literally nothing you can do at this point. And then going back to the injury thing, I know people like to speculate that Cliff's injured, which I don't think he is. I think he's just gassed, man. They played, 4 games in 10 days, and this man's played 35, 34, 34, 34. He's playing the entire game, and it's 4 games in a 10-day span. Like, he's tired as fuck. Like, just let him. I mean, he's got to get some rest eventually. But this Big Ten schedule, that's just how it sets up, and it's game after game after game after game, and it's going to be tough because you got to bounce right back, and you do get a nice little break here, 3 days, and then what is the next one? Then you get a 4-day break, and then you get a nice 5-day break again. So I mean, you're just not going to get those breaks like that. Like, this is just a little bit of a gauntlet right here, and they're playing well. They're winning games, but I think people are overthinking the Cliff injury thing. Yeah, is he going a little slower? Yeah, he's tired as shit. Like,
yeah,
I'd be tired.
I'm finding it interesting that Reber seems to have taken the backup duties. I felt like Woolfolk, I mean, it wasn't perfect, but I felt like I don't know, he impressed me. I mean, his offensive game might not be there yet, but he bound, you know, I guess he like banged, he's out there banging bodies. Don't clip that, Richie. He's out there, but he's out there doing his thing. He gets rebounds, and I don't know. I just find it surprising. I mean, I guess Reber does offer a little bit more of an offensive game, but I don't know. I just felt like Woolfolk was doing well as the backup. So we'll see.
There's a funny Charles Barkley clip from Inside the NBA, and he's just like, when you bang in a guy, and then everyone just like dies. I don't know if you guys have ever seen it. But that's just
I've seen it. Yep.
Go on.
Go ahead.
The Reber thing, like they're like everyone wants to say like, yeah, he's a better offensive player, but I see 5 games he has 0 point or 3 points, 0 points, 2 points, 0 points, 2 points. It's like, yeah, you can say he's a better offensive player, but he also has 1 rebound in the past 4 games. So I'm telling you right now, Woolfolk, when he's getting in there, is not going to have 1 rebound. He'll have several, whether that be 3 or 4. I just think he's the better player, and I think he's higher upside. I don't know if it's like a loyalty thing or Pike just prefers the veteran guy over the freshman who will probably make a freshman mistake, but it's a tough one. I think Woolfolk's better.
I'm wondering if it's because he fouls too much. I'm looking at his game lines. So he's played 8 minutes in the last 4 games. So if you look at his Purdue line, he played 5 minutes. He had no shots. He had 2 free throws. He had 3 fouls in 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If you look at Maryland, he played 2 minutes. Against Iowa, he played 1 minute, got a foul. Then if you look at his other games, against Coppin State, it won't count because that was a total blowout. He played a lot in the second half. But against Bucknell,
Suck it, Sam
he played
Sessoms.
9 minutes. Yeah, he played 9 minutes and had 3 fouls. I wonder if it's just that you can't trust him to go out there and play defense without hacking. Like, albeit in Purdue, he had one that wasn't a foul where he was guarding Edey, and he had like a really good slip around him to swat the ball away. They called a foul. But I think he's just still learning a lot about playing basketball at the Big Ten level. Mm-hmm. And you expect that out of a true freshman who played football basically as his main sport until like 2 years ago. So I think he's got to learn that mentality of like use your physicality, but not all the time, if that makes sense.
Sure.
I was wondering this last night too, because Reaver, I thought had some really bad play last night against
mm-hmm.
Northwestern. He was a total liability out there at points.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I actually kind of like your theory there. I know Pikel mentioned actually yesterday about how Northwestern gets to the free throw line a lot, and they're a good free throw shooting team. So maybe that had a lot to do with it. Keeping Woolfolk on the bench and not picking up fouls. I mean, maybe Northwestern would have had more fouls in the first half if Woolfolk played, and then more guys. So I mean, who knows what could happen there?
I think did Northwestern miss 8 free throws yesterday though. So I guess if you're looking at it from a Northwestern perspective, they're kind of where I guess Rutgers fans were a couple years ago, where it's like you're tearing your hair up and like you gotta make your free throws.
A lot of them were the one guy Nicholson. No, he missed. That's true. Like at least 5 of them.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Mm-hmm. Interesting stat though. So Cliff, freshman year, averaged 2.0 fouls per game. Woolfolk right now 1.9. So it's eerily similar.
He's probably also not playing as much.
At the beginning, like this was kind of like Cliff's minutes were 1 minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 9 minutes, 9 minutes, 7 minutes, 8 minutes, 5 minutes, 4 minutes. Like,
and then Cliff got hurt too.
Yeah. So it's kind of similar, I would say. Like he's just got to learn. Like.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see.
Yep. So we have a huge tilt on Sunday against Ohio State at home. Anybody who can be there should definitely be there. I think it's going to be arguably the best environment of the season, given that Rutgers fans have been foaming at the mouth to get another shot at the Buckeyes, given the screw job in Columbus. So I think it's a safe bet to bet Rutgers in that one. I was looking at Bart Torvik's expected line, and they have Rutgers at -3 with the look-ahead line. I think that's probably right around what it'll come in at.
Yeah.
But I'll be betting that. You guys can't because you're living in Jersey, but hit me up on the side if you're trying to actually get some action on that game.
I'm going to have so many comments now on the YouTube and investment report. Wait, Mike, how much?
Yeah.
Can you be my bookie?
Yeah, I promise I'll just take a little bit of vig for myself.
Yeah, a little bit off the top. Nothing else.
Yeah, just skim the cream. So I think we'll probably have something before the Ohio State game to talk to kind of dive deeper into it. We were planning on talking the offensive coordinator press conference today, but that got pushed back.
Correct.
Due to a scheduling conflict, right? Is that what they said?
Yeah, it's a scheduling conflict.
Richie, let's talk about that. What could that be about?
Well, hear me out.
Why would that get pushed back?
If you look at the flight patterns, they all got shut down recently. I don't know what the reason was. I forget that I didn't really care to read the article. I read the title like everyone else does on Facebook and all these other apps. And conspiracy theory is Greg is somewhere around the country looking for his offensive line coach. Could it be Minnesota with Callahan? Could it be Florida with that Clay Patterson dude at South Florida? Could it be down the street and he's at Augie Hoffman's trying to beg him back?
I'm going to go out on a limb and say that's probably not happening.
Probably not. But
I do agree. He's probably out doing some kind of recruiting, whether it be transfer portal recruiting or coaching recruiting.
And it could be
But
Sirocco
it is strange
for all we
that
know,
it
too.
changed. Right? Yeah, that's true. He could still be getting his affairs in order.
Yeah. To be fair,
that's just something we wanted to touch on.
He has a house on the East Coast still, and it's like, all right, dude, like you should probably have some clothes or something over here, so you should be fine if you're him. But, but yeah, no, who knows what it is? There's so many possibilities. I'm going to go with probably he's out there talking to offensive line coaches or tight ends coaches or whatever. So, And I think honestly his flight probably got messed up, delayed or something. And they're like, you know what, let's just do this Monday. Like this is easier. So Monday, I don't know what time exactly. I think it was. Is it 2?
I think it's at 2 o'clock. So.
Yeah. So looking forward to that. We'll see. Any questions for Kirk? Submit them below, and I'll ask within reason. Like I said last pod, don't ask me about his previous stint at Rutgers, or I guess to an extent.
I might do that. I'll be honest.
Oh, there
like,
go.
I might,
hey
I
man, you got fired. How'd it feel?
Like,
what, did it really take 1.4 mil to work for the guy that fired you?
Oh my god. All right,
Simon.
Moving on. Let's talk some recruiting. We have a class of 23 visitor this weekend. It's a wide receiver from Texas, and we have a big junior day this weekend as well. Richie, let's get the rundown first on the 23 recruit that's visiting, and then the junior day.
All right. So first off, Ishmael Smith Flores, Texas native, plays down at Martin High School. He's unranked currently, but he's a big, tall body receiver, something that Rutgers currently doesn't have since Sean Ryan's gone. He's 6'6", 210. That's a legit measurement. I believe it's from his rivals camp. I don't know where the hell we had it last year, somewhere in Texas. But so he's an intriguing one. His dad's an Iowa Hall of Famer. He took an official visit to Iowa, took an official visit to Michigan State. Didn't end up committing to either of those. It sounds like he's not a take for either of those at the moment either. So he's going to visit Rutgers this weekend. He just got a Nebraska offer. He's going to visit Nebraska next weekend. Now, what's the connection to Rutgers? Where the hell is Rutgers recruiting Texas? Put the hat on.
His hat is getting a lot of use today.
Mm-hmm.
Who was on our – which board was it? Hold on. Who was on our offensive line coach board? Or maybe it was the other board. One of the boards had a guy that was connections to Texas and Oklahoma. I think it was Clay Patterson. It was.
So I'm going to stop
Patterson.
you there. This kid is Deion Jennings' cousin.
I know, but I'm getting to it.
Okay.
Hold on. And he's Khalil Glad's cousin too, but we'll ignore that for the time being. I didn't get to that one yet. So now, this guy, Clay Patterson, was the tight ends coach for several years under Kirk Soraka. He was also, he's a Texas native. He was also coaching down at Texas, some weird A&M Kingsville. It's like their Rutgers Camden or whatever. He was also coaching a community college down there. He was also coaching Northeastern Oklahoma A&M, which is like one of the biggest JUCOs down there. Hear me out. Clay Patterson is your tight end coach.
So Clay Patterson, just to add some color here, just got hired on December 22nd as USF's tight end coach.
Yeah, but you could steal him.
So it would be another. We've seen that doesn't really matter, but at the same time, professionally, it's probably not the best move to do this. So I would say Clay Patterson looks like a good candidate, but just wanted to let you guys know he did just get a new job.
Wasn't like Manny Diaz like Temple's head coach, or whose head coach was he? Wasn't it him that like left within like seconds?
He was Temple's head coach, and he left for Miami within like 2 weeks.
Yeah, so yeah, if he can do it, you can definitely steal one from South Florida. But
speaking of tight ends coaches, didn't Andy Souter just get the tight ends coach position at
Minnesota?
Minnesota.
Yeah, so
Sure did.
As Joe Biden once said, Minnesota.
Yay!
Oh my God.
I love that meme. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, he's related to Deion Jennings and Khalil Glad's. I don't think it's first cousins. I could be wrong on that. But he is definitely related to him, so that's going to play a factor. But I think Nebraska is going to be tough to beat here, especially because they're getting that last official visit before signing day, and that's usually a sign, so to speak. He did also, I think he got like 2 other Power 5 offers recently too. He's been kind of blowing up a little bit. Obviously, schools want to fill up their recruiting classes and try to add the best possible players heading into the second signing period. So we'll see what happens there. Yeah, he'll be on campus this weekend, and we'll get more from that. But there's also fans aren't going to be happy about this one, or Hoops fans won't be, because half that student section is getting taken up on Sunday.
That really does suck. Unfortunately, well, here's the thing. It sucks in the sense that the environment is going to be, a few decibels lower probably than it should be. Mm-hmm. But if we have a huge win, that is like, do you remember how good the first class for Shiano was? Like right before COVID hit, Shiano, the last experience those juniors had at a college campus was like that Seton Hall basketball game. Mm-hmm. So exciting, just like an electric environment. And they couldn't really do anything through the entire pandemic. So Rutgers was able to really leave a strong impression about what Rutgers college experience could be like. A lot of these kids, even though fingers crossed, this is not another pandemic. I'm not going to put the tinfoil hat back on for this, but this will be such a great environment for these kids to see. And a lot of them, it'll be their first introduction to Rutgers. Some of them have been to games before, but some of them haven't. So this is a totally like nuclear type of atmosphere. I think the benefits outweigh the decibel levels being a few lower, personally.
Yeah, I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head. Now, that being said, some big name recruits coming to campus. Like number 60 overall in 2025, Anthony Sacca. Number 98 overall in Yasin Willis in 2024. Number 153 overall in Darian Dupree, who's coming from Illinois. There's Deshaun Dotson, who's a 4-star out of Pennsylvania. Zafir Stewart's a massive offensive tackle out of Pennsylvania. There's just I could keep going on and on and on. Like, there's just Colin Cubberly, like Cooper Ackerman. Teddy Foster's the one I'm going to keep a really close eye on. So he's been to campus this summer. He's got a really close relationship. He's out of Cardinal Mooney. So Cardinal Mooney is the high school Drew Lascari used to coach. So there's a really close bond there. The fact that he paid his own way to come up from Florida in the summer is interesting. And it seems like he was actually kind of close to committing back then. Now he's going to come up for another visit. That atmosphere you were just mentioning could just put it over the edge on top of the visit and facilities and blah, 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 blah. So that's one to keep a real close eye on. But for the rest, I think it's more or less, it's just like their first, maybe second time on campus. Yasin Willis, it's huge to get him back on campus because it sounds like he wants to stay close to home too. That would be ginormous for Rutgers.
So, yeah, Yasin Willis is a top 100 kid in the country. He's a St. Joe's Montvale kid, right?
Yes, correct.
Yep.
So Augie's old school, the school that produced Audric Esteme, like they have a really good running back room there. It's kind of wild.
And his teammate, 2025 running back, also 4-star, John Forrester, is also going to be on campus. So,
really,
contrary to popular belief, they could still recruit Big North people without the Big North connections. So it's going to be a fun list.
Quick note on Anthony Sacca. His uncle played quarterback at Rutgers in the 90s, but unfortunately his dad played quarterback for Penn State in the 90s as well. And he got drafted by the Cardinals. So
yeah, I'll be honest with that one. If I had to peg where he's going, it's like very heavy Penn State lean. But to get him on campus, you never know. You never know.
He's also got offers from like everywhere in the country. He's going to be a tough pull regardless. If it's not Penn State, Georgia, or Michigan.
Yeah. I would keep a close eye on Teddy Foster, I'm telling you. It would not shock me if Rutgers gets another 2024 commit to join Kenny Jones, who will also be on campus this weekend recruiting.
I know basketball recruits just kind of like pop up last second. Are you hearing any visitors for the basketball side?
No, nothing new on hoops. Darian Sutton, I spoke with yesterday again. He was just telling me about the visit. He liked it a lot. Obviously, it didn't go Rutgers' way, but it was still a good visit. Got to talk to the staff, enjoy everything about it. Now, I don't know how hard they're actually pushing for him. I mean, it's crazy to say that with a top 130 kid. In the past, it's like wow, 130, like oh my god, he's gonna go to Rutgers. That's huge. And it's like no, not anymore. Now it's a little different here, buddy. But yeah, no, I mean, he liked to visit a lot. They're going to keep a close eye on him. They're still monitoring big men targets. They want to get Juslin Bodo on campus. Now, he has some logistics to work out in terms of his off-the-court stuff, but they really do want to get him on campus. They're a big fan of him. So even though they're over the scholarship limit technically already for next year with Ndongu's commitment, they're still pursuing another prospect. So that tells you either one of two things. Someone's transferring out, or Cliff's gone 100%. Actually, they'd have to be both technically because you're over one already. So it's going to be interesting. I don't really know what's going to happen in that regard, but they definitely want a big man still, especially if Cliff leaves. If Cliff stays, which I think is still super unlikely, then maybe you don't need a big man. But for now, it looks like they're going to pursue a big man.
I think the cool thing about having a roster full of guys with potential too, because there's a few guys at the end of the bench right now who it's pretty obvious they're on scholarship, but they don't really have a future at Rutgers. They're here because they're good locker room guys or because we have the extra scholarship. But having, a developmental big, like look at what we did with like Miles Johnson his first couple of years. He redshirted. You rarely see a red shirt in college basketball, but he really needed that time to build up his body, to get acclimated to the whole grind of the college basketball season. And by the time, his third year rolled around, he was a redshirt sophomore. He was one of the best bigs in the country and best bigs in the Big Ten. Mm-hmm. So it'd be nice to just like get a guy that Pike really likes to develop as that developmental big man that is coming in knowing, hey, most likely you're going to redshirt. And there's nothing wrong with that. We want to get you to the point where Miles Johnson was, and you can point to that as a success story. So, just excited to have a developmental guy or two on the bench that Pike can round out to his full vision.
Yeah, it seems like I keep saying this. The ceiling, what is it? The ceiling is the floor. The floor is the ceiling. Some shit
the ceiling is the roof.
The ceiling is the roof.
It's close enough.
Yeah.
But that's all I got in that regard.
The transfer portal guy I want to touch on though, Damian Alford from Syracuse. Looks like Rutgers is showing interest in him. He's originally from Montreal. He went and played a year of high school down in Florida as well. So we've heard that story with Wesley Bailey. I don't know if you've been able to reach out to him, Richie, but are you hearing anything going on in the portal right now?
Haven't heard back from him yet, but I mean, he's a pretty big name. He had 400 something yards at Syracuse. Now, obviously the last Syracuse transfer wide receiver didn't work out as well, and it's still in the portal actually, surprisingly enough. Oh, surprise.
Yeah.
But he's like a pretty damn good prospect. Even out of high school, like he had a ton of offers. I don't know how the hell he ended up at Syracuse. Maybe it wasn't committable in the end, but in Washington State, Virginia, Georgia Tech, Oklahoma. Oh, okay, gotcha. So
he originally was a 21, and then he reclassified to 2020.
Gotcha. So I haven't done a lot of homework on this one, but I know based on who I've talked to, they're definitely pursuing him. They definitely want to get him on campus. I forget what day enrollment starts or the semester starts.
All right.
Next week.
I'm going to stop right here. Unfortunately, I just looked on Twitter. He's removed his name from the transfer portal.
No, that was quick. All right. I don't know what the hell happened
there. That shows how fast things move.
All right. Well, they definitely did want him. I can tell you that much. So they're pursuing a receiver.
Let's just forget the last few minutes. Yeah.
Oh, wow. He literally just...
Richie, edit the last 5 minutes out, please.
Yeah, just crop. But no, they definitely want a receiver. It's clear as day. They want one at least, maybe two. They want a tight end. They got their tackle. They're looking at a couple DBs in the safety role, but you got to stop with the QB stuff. I don't think it's happening. Unless, Simon leaves after spring, maybe they pursue one, but I don't see a quarterback coming in here right now. So
I agree. I think Kirk is going to get in, assess the situation. If we do add a quarterback, it's because Kirk has worked with these guys for the whole spring, realizes that he doesn't have anybody there that he thinks can run his offense. And he's going to land a guy in the second portal period. I don't think it's going to happen before the end of spring, though, personally.
I agree. Now, mind you, we'll probably see a couple new names on the roster in terms of walk-ons. Maybe the lacrosse kid ends up walking on. Maybe something Mike sent me yesterday might be leading towards a walk-on. Get the hat.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. You don't have to get the
hat. I'm not going to mention his name, but there might be a small school college walk-on receiver. Not even going to blow him up.
It worked really well with Brandon Sanders. Everyone knows that. So, but something to keep an eye on.
He played quite a bit before
he did actually. He played a lot more than I
got hurt. I guess
a lot more than I thought he would.
Yeah. Yep.
But that's all I got for that.
All right, guys. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Was there anything we missed that we wanted to discuss before we sign off from anybody?
You guys go first.
I saw Kevin Warren took the job with the Bears now. Was he the CEO, president, the Grand Poobah now, I guess?
Peace.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, I didn't love the guy, but business-wise, he made some really good deals for the Big Ten. I think he led us well. Wish him well at the Bears and with the NFL. I saw some rumors that he was eyeing the NFL commissioner job when Goodell eventually steps down. This would be a good launch, or this would be a good springboard to that job. But yeah, we'll see. Hopefully the job's not filled in by somebody like Gene Smith, though, because we don't need Ohio State getting any more favoritism in the Big Ten than they already do.
Contrary to popular belief, I will say that it was a great deal money-wise, but this motherfucker is going to make me buy Peacock. He's going to make me buy, what was the other one? There's Paramount or whatever. gonna have to buy all these goddamn
just
streaming apps now. Like, it's like just to watch one game, and it's like, I gotta watch Rutgers at noon on fucking Peacock TV.
You're gonna watch it on the cock?
No, Jesus, that's
Jesus.
End the pod here now.
Yeah.
I think I do have one thing I gotta say still. Unfortunately, I don't want to go any further after Craig's comment, but.
Oh yeah, wait! You got to show your little buddy you got. Now, right?
Yeah, she's not happy right now.
The newest edition. Is she near there?
He's behind the gate, right behind the potted plant, which she already knocked over.
She's in the gulag now.
Yeah, pretty much. I'll do it. I'll go get her in a second. But I did want to mention before we get non-seriousness on the pod, the D1 Council announced two things yesterday, two big things. Number one, they approved a thing to turn all volunteer positions on baseball and softball into full-time coaching positions. So that's huge. Now these guys are able to go off campus. Now you can actually pay them a salary and actually retain and maintain a staff, because it's extremely hard in college baseball when you're a volunteer and someone's like, hey, I'll pay you money. Like, yeah, that's a big difference. So that's huge. That's going to be July 1st. That's when that goes official. So I fully expect Steve Owens and crew to use that to their advantage. They already have a top 25 incoming class. They have lights coming. They have, I don't know what the hell else they're doing out there. I think a scoreboard or a jumbotron or whatever. Next up, they just fixed the press box. It's rough back there. It's like my beer pong table setup pretty much. And it's like, there are some cold games too, man. That's why no one wants to play in the Northeast. But regardless, the other thing they approved was the transfer portal thing, where it's like you can't transfer. It's going to be extremely hard to transfer twice now. So if you transfer once, you better pick a fucking location that you're going to stay at for at least a couple of years until you get into a graduate transfer state. It's going to be extremely tough. Now, that might have played a factor, I'm told, with Devontae Walker and some others. We'll see. But it's definitely going to be an interesting thing, because now you can't have guys that are going here. Oh, you're on your fourth school in 5 years? You're on your third school in 1 year? What the fuck? But no, it's going to be a lot harder to transfer more than once now. So just wanted to note that.
Yep. One last thing I promise, guys. Rutgers basketball rankings. I'm going to run down a few of them. They're up to 18th in the net, 16th in KenPom, 12th in ESPN's Basketball Power Index, 12th in Saragan, and 12th in Bart Torvik. So Rutgers squarely in the field right now, probably around a 5 seed if I had to guess, if the season ended today. But
I think I saw Cats had them.
Time.
I mean, it's so early to talk about it, but it's just, it's just fun. I think, was it Cats or somebody had Rutgers as a 7 seed facing Kentucky in the first round? I think in like those.
Man, I would love to just de-pants the Wildcats in the NCAA tournament. They are terrible this year.
I saw Brad Wachtel have. I think Rutgers was also 7 seed going up against Virginia Tech.
Okay.
Yeah, that's first stuff.
Kentucky would be interested in though.
So we'll close on this. Richie has a new member of his family. He's got on screen right now. Richie, tell us a little about your friend.
This is Sadie. I think she's 9.5, 10 weeks tomorrow or something like that. Little pupper.
A puppy.
Little golden retriever, as you can see. Very tired all the time. Only shit in the house once so far, so that's not bad. That's good. It hasn't been 24 hours yet.
Under your supervision too, so that one you can't really put on you.
I don't blame myself at all. Luckily, she does not watch the pod, so this is good. I can talk all the shit I want now. I left her alone for about half hour with my girlfriend, and I come back and she shit on the floor. She tracked it all over. She stepped in it. She barked at me. And I was like, "Wait, what the hell happened? I left you for like 20 minutes." But no, she's great so far. No accidents with me.
She's very adorable, Richie. I gotta
Thank you. So
and the red golden, I'm a big fan of the red golden versus
I like the darker ones.
The white,
they're just so like.
I thought when you told me their name's Sadie, I thought maybe it was like a Sadie Sink reference to Stranger Things because she has that red coat.
See, all my friends, it was tough naming because all my friends. I did this when I had a puppy a couple years ago, and I went on Instagram, I posted the name, and I'm like, nah, I don't like that name. I edited it like 5 times. They're like, dude, what the hell is your dog's name? And I'm like, well, it was Benji, then it was this, and then it was Buddy, and I was like, that was too basic, and I had to switch it, and then this, and I was like, all right, you know what? It's just Tucker. That's it. It's Tucker. And now, obviously, this one I had to pick pretty quickly, and I was like, okay, Zadie, good, that works. So
you almost named her Penny, though, right?
Almost,
like Mike's cat.
Yeah, I kind of do it. Only one name per pod here.
Yeah, we can't have the same name pets. They'll think we're talking to them. Come through the speakers.
Oh yeah,
it'll be a nightmare.
That's all we need.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, we've said we're going to end it about 3 times now, but this time I'm actually going to do it. Thanks again for tuning in. If you haven't already, like and subscribe. Rate us on your favorite podcasting app. Really appreciate it. It helps more people find the show. Tell a friend who's not listening. If you're not listening at this point, you're a Rutgers fan. Come on, what are you doing?
Yeah, dummy.
But for me and the gang, this has been another edition of the Night Report podcast. Signing off.